Hello students, my name is Prerna and I am your EVS teacher. And today from your EVS book Enviro, we are going to be reading chapter number 1. Now you've already read about different types of family. What exactly is a family? What are the different types of families? So you have a joint family, you have a nuclear family, and what is it that every member of the family needs to do to make it a happy family. In your previous classes, you have read all about it, correct? So in this chapter, we are going to talk about families on the move. So what do you mean by families on the move? Let us try and understand it. So we start reading chapter number 1. So this is chapter number 1 and the name of the chapter is Families on the Move. And this is unit 1, talking about family and friends, talking about relationships. Alright, so here we go. So here are a set of questions given that do you live in a joint family or do you live in a nuclear family? So we know what is a joint family when you're living with your grandparents and your uncle and auntie. Nuclear family, it's just you and your parents. Then have you been living in your present residence since birth? So let's say you were born in Mumbai. Are you still staying in Mumbai? Or maybe you were born in Agra or you were born in Delhi. Are you still staying there? And do you have any friend who has shifted from one place to another? So it's quite common for us to have friends probably whose father is in the armed forces, or father is into or mother is into a transferable job. So we might have one or two friends who have now moved to another city. So you can fill in this information according to your experience. Earlier in India, extended families often lived under one roof. That is, all of them lived in the same house. They lived there happily and followed their family occupation. But now the conditions have changed. The people started to move due to wanted and unwanted reasons. So in the first paragraph, we've spoken about that how in earlier days people lived whether it was 10-member family or 15-member family or whatever we decide, they all lived in the same house and they all followed the same occupation. So let's say the occupation of the family was bangle making. Everyone was into the same profession. The occupation was farming. Everyone was into the same profession of farming. But now what has happened from past few years, people have moved out of their families due to some wanted reasons and some unwanted reasons. So wanted reasons could be that someone probably wanted to go into a different profession. So maybe there was someone who didn't want to be a farmer, someone wanted to be a teacher, someone wanted to study more. So that is a wanted reason. Unwanted reason, if there's a fight in the family, so that could be the probable reason. The movement of people from one place to another in order to find work or better living conditions is called as migration. So when people move from city A to city B or country A to country B because they're looking for work, then it is called as migration. People who migrate are called migrants. Migration of people from one country to another is called as international migration. People who move from their own country to settle in another country are called immigrants. These immigrants are called immigrants in the country where they move, or people who come to live permanently in a foreign country. All right. Next, why do families move? So it says families move due to many reasons. Of course, reasons being better jobs, maybe due to better education facilities, maybe there's a natural disaster, maybe the houses were destroyed. So it could be any reason. Now we are discussing in detail about the various reasons that people move from one city to another. So the first one is transferable job. Like I told you in the introduction of the chapter, some jobs require frequent shifting from one place to another, and such jobs are called transferable jobs. Being into the armed forces, banking, all these are transferable job. In some, some government teaching jobs are also transferable. For instance, Rocky's father works in government of India. He has a transferable job which makes him to travel to different parts of India. His mother is in a central school as a teacher who also needs to travel to places for her promotion. Rocky and his younger sister travel with their mother because they study in central school. Rocky is now in class 5 and this is the third school he has been to, but he does not mind that because he loves to go to new places and meeting new people. He keeps in touch with his old friends through letters and internet. So imagine you get in the advantage of a transferable job is that you get to meet so many new people, you get to see so many places and you make so many friends. But like Rocky, you need to be in touch with all your friends. The second reason is displacement and demolition. Sometimes people are forced to migrate and shift to other places, and this is called as displacement. The action or process of destroying the land or building to use that for some other purpose is called as demolition. I'll explain this to you in much simpler manner. So, let's say there is a village where the government decides to build maybe let's say a hospital, okay, or maybe there are people who reside near the river banks and the government decides to build a dam. So what happens, people in and around these areas will have to move from their place, from that particular place, and this is called as displacement. All right, what is demolition? It basically means to destroy or to just kind of it is basically when someone's house or the building where someone is saying that is destroyed as per the government orders, because people staying in those areas are not really they are legally in most of the cases the land doesn't legally belong to them, and now the government wants that land. So this is called as demolition. For instance, Sonu's family used to live in a village on the banks of major Indian river. They collected wood from the forest close by and grew cereals and vegetables like potato and yam. When the government announced the building of a dam, see here also the same example is given, that the dam had to be constructed, so Sonu and his neighbors were asked to move, and this is called as displacement. They were told that the rising of the river waters as a result of dam would flood their village. They were offered a place at a higher level around 15 kilometers south of their home. So whenever the government would displace people or whenever the government would demolish, in most cases the government provides another accommodation. This place was far from the river and also from the forest on which Sonu's family depended for wood. The soil there was not as fertile as the land near the river. Sonu's father spoke to the government representative and asked for a place closer to the lake that would be formed by the dam. He also asked for fishing rights there. The official promised him that this would be given to him and to other members of the community once the dam was completed in about 3 years. He also promised the displaced family a sum of money to help them survive while the dam was being built. So see, the government also helps those people who have been displaced. Now we're looking at the case of demolition. Raghav's family used to live in a slum beside river Yamuna in Delhi. The Delhi government decided to clear the slums from the riverside and relocate them to a place called a new colony. Raghav's father used to drive a cycle rickshaw in their locality. Cycle rickshaws are not allowed at the new place. Raghav's father discussed this with his family and they decided to shift to a different cluster of colony. He bought another rickshaw with the money given by the government. He hires them both out now and is learning how to drive a car. Now he wants to drive a taxi. So now Raghav's father is learning to drive a taxi. And displacement has actually helped Raghav's family to grow prosperous. So this is also a case of this displacement only when one family was asked to move to another place. Then impacts of move. So what happens when one entire family moves from one place to another? It affects their family life, of course. Children have problems in adjusting in a new environment. People in new environment make them feel like unwelcome guests. Sometimes it happens. So whenever you have a new classmate, please make that classmate feel welcome. Talk to that classmate. If the classmate has, let's say, taken admission in the middle of the session, you can always offer your notebooks and say that this is what has been done so far. This way, you will make good friends. Elderly members of the house are left alone when the young generation migrates. That happens in some cases. Now we talk about changes in the family structure. As we have seen, people move out of place and away from their families for various reasons. These people may form smaller family units which may have different beliefs and ideas. People's beliefs and practices may also vary from generation to generation, and that is what we popularly call as the generation gap. Most of the families in the past were joint families. In joint families, different members like grandparents, aunts, uncles, and their children, everyone lived together as a single family. Every member helps each other in all work. They used to share the happy moments as well as sorrow. Old people, they used to look at children, and children, they were told a lot of stories by their grandparents. Nowadays, the number of members in a family are decreasing day by day. All right. And the concept of nuclear family is adopted by a lot of people. With changing times, many customs and traditions have changed. And one example given here is that earlier women were only seen doing household chores. But today, women, because she's called as a multitasker, she's taking care of the home and she's managing the office as well. And now even men are taking active part in the household activities. Children also help their parents with various household jobs. Some values, however, remain unchanged. The younger members are respectful towards the elders, and elders also love their younger ones. To teach children about values and rules, sometimes elders have to be strict with them. So we have learned so much in this chapter about families, and I would just say one thing which I always tell whenever I'm teaching a chapter related to family, that as a member of the family, you need to ensure that you make some positive contribution. A small example, maybe setting your own bag. As a class 5 student, you can set your own bag. You can ensure that your uniform is ironed for the next day. You can also see that at least maybe one or two subjects you're facing difficulty, but subjects that you find easy, you prepare on your own, and you can just ask your mother or father that here are a few questions, why don't you quickly ask me, so that I can you can also be rest assured that yes, I am prepared for the exam. So always remember, whenever you are living in a family, you need to contribute in some or the other positive manner. Thank you so much.